That's a 5,000-gallon wastewater tank. They've been bringing in more bunks for the staff. They've been bringing in more bathrooms. They're expanding is clearly what we've seen this past week. They will turn their lights off as they get down this road, whether it's because they're out of sight of us or...
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup.
This is Ashley with Status Coup.
On the ground.
In Philadelphia.
Flint, Michigan. East Palestine, Ohio. Please support the leading independent news outlet on the ground.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hi everybody, this is Dave Decker, Status Coup News. We are down at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, otherwise known as Alligator Alcatraz. I mean, you guys are out here every day pretty much, if not every other day. I mean, I learn a lot from watching your footage and your feeds. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing a greater frequency in anger out here and apathy? What's it like?
More anger than apathy. I think, on a regular basis, you see a lot of the workers or the contractors driving out, kind of defending what they're doing, yelling. They're not hurting anything, that the airfield has always been there. And I think frustrated by the constant presence of people that seem to be gathered here. Sometimes it's just one of us, sometimes multiple people, or then days like this where we've got a lot. We're also kind of shooting ourselves in the foot in terms of Everglades Restoration. Because again, we know 20 acres of pavement have already been laid. There's money left for 20 more acres. I've seen earlier this week they've returned the fill trucks. We've got 30, 40 fill trucks an hour going back in and asphalt.
20, 30 fill trucks an hour going in and out. And that's 7 days a week.
Well, that was in the beginning 7 days a week. They've just started picking that back up last week. And so, I would assume tomorrow morning they'll be back. But we have wastewater coming out 24 hours a day. Potable water going in, jet fuel going in, tankers that are unmarked but that have hazardous placards. And again, this is probably the least fiscally responsible and most environmentally detrimental location that they could have chosen. And I think the numbers reflect that. So it just boggles my mind that we don't have more people upset by how much money we're spending on this. I think this could be done more efficiently elsewhere. And much more humanely. So for me, again, this is just the worst possible location. That's a 5,000-gallon wastewater tank, which we do.
I'm going to zoom in over
here.
Let's
and
see
we
what
do
got here.
know, and it's been confirmed, those are going to Broward's wastewater treatment facility.
So these tanks are taking wastewater out of this facility.
Yes.
And moving it somewhere else.
And there's two 5,000-gallon trucks, the red ones, and then they have two 4,000-gallon trucks, or 4,000, sorry, that we're aware of, but they're just all day and all night.
And all night these trucks are going in and out.
Yes, those all day and all night, potable water all day and all night. They've been bringing in more bunks for the staff. They've been bringing in more bathrooms. They're expanding is clearly what we've seen this past week. Oh, look at all these generators. There are at least four or five ambulances that leave daily. And so for me, I know that we've had people on site. I haven't personally, but I know people have followed them to Kendall. And I think it's a shame that we haven't had more coverage of that, but it's because I guess the hospitals aren't reporting it, and I know they use a private ambulance service. This was today, an ambulance was pulling out of the facility, and as you can see, they have their lights on as they're pulling out. And as they turn and are driving to the east, heading towards what we believe to be Kendall, they will turn their lights off as they get down this road, whether it's because they're out of sight of us or there's not an emergency, I don't know, but it's strange to us that they turn their lights off and seem to drive the speed limit if there's...
Why do you think they turn their lights on? Yeah, who knows?
At this point, again, your guess is as good as mine. They really don't seem to abide by They play by their own rules.
Support this critically important on-the-ground reporting as a Status Coup member and get great perks. Become a member right here.
My name is Jessica Namath, and we are here. There's been a prayer vigil, an interfaith prayer vigil that people from all over the state have gathered to pray about what's happening here and for the people inside.
Can you tell us about what drivers have been doing?
Unfortunately, we've had people driving by. I don't know if they know what was going on or if they were yelling at leaders of faith. But people were shouting out their encouragement for the president and for this facility. And I think that's pretty reflective of what I think is just a complete lack of information or understanding. Just like they may not have realized or known that these were, priests, pastors, rabbis, and people of faith here leading essentially an outdoor, prayer. I don't know that they're aware of what's going on inside there, and I think they take things for face value. So I do think that in general there's a lack of humanity, which we pointed out here, but also a lack of understanding when it comes to what we see behind us, and a lack of connection between the harm we're doing to the environment and to these Everglades and to the people. And I think that that's part of the problem. We tend to listen to our politicians and blindly trust what they say.
I mean, it's been reported that there are like 4 foot by 4 foot boxes where people are being sent. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard about that, but I've seen boxes get brought in. There were 2 trucks that went in like this, and then similar that had
boxes with toilets?
Yeah, well, there was the grouping of these, and then there were other little, the same size, that had like a little bench in the corner. I mean, like a little, corner shower bench or something. But I can't even fathom what that would be used for. It's not tall enough for a human to stand up, and I didn't know what in the world they even were, because again, they look like small boxes. So.
Right.
If those are being used for people, it seems like every contractor has a connection to the governor or to prominent politicians and their donors.
I mean, that would track. These are all no-bid contract awards, right?
Of course, and a lot of them from out of state. I don't know how you get a no-bid contract from out of state, but they've managed to do it. So, but I guess that, again, this is happening all around the country, and for me, as somebody that is a defender of public lands, I've got the group Floridians for Public Lands. First and foremost, this started out as a land grab. And we know that in 2021, Rodney Barreto was writing letters to Mayor Levine Cava suggesting she donate this property to the National Park Service. And she has recently admitted to having been in discussions with the state for the past 2 years about selling this property. So I would hope that the constituents of Miami-Dade would remind her it belongs to them and not to her. The taxpayers own this property. And I think that they need to be able to speak on as to whether or not they want to sell it to the state, especially if it's for something like this. But yeah, we are in a very interesting situation here.